Hey everyone, happy Friday, and I hope you're getting excited for these job interviews. I had two really quick tips on some ways I think you can improve or things to be thinking about as you're getting ready to do your mock interview. And this comes after kind of bouncing between the rooms last night and watching you kind of take a practice run at a couple of these questions. The main thing is no matter what you're answering, always relate it back to the job. So understanding what job it is that you're going after becomes really important. So that first question, tell me about yourself. There's probably an infinite number of facts you can talk about. Your pets, your siblings, things like that. That's all kind of interesting anecdotal stuff, but it doesn't necessarily relate back to the job. Unless you're going for an au pair or working at an animal shelter, then it becomes important. So think about the job. You have a very short time to get somebody to believe that you're qualified to teach this position or work the position, I guess I should say. Whatever the job is, you want them to know you're qualified. So telling them about yourself should always relate back to that job. So, for instance, when I was coming out of my undergrad, I had a degree in literature, but I was trying to get a lot of jobs in film. So, if somebody, were to ask me to tell about myself, if I'm using that SEAT method that we're using, the skills and ability, the experience and education, the accomplishments and awards, and the type of person I am, you don't always have to say them right out what they are, but I'll give you kind of a little demonstration. So I would say something like, "My name is Matthew Foss. I'm a recent graduate of Ave Maria University. While I was there, I really honed my skills as a camera person by working in the AV department. It really kind of helped me in my kind of self-taught education process of different videography skills that I developed." And during this time, I also was able to win the Playwright of the Year award and the Actor of the Year award. So I feel like those accomplishments really helped me in kind of pursuing this career path in the film industry. I'm kind of the type of person who, when I set my mind to a project, I'm very passionate about it. And that's what I brought to whether it was a play I was in, whether I was working for the AV department, whether it was just completing my degree. I focus in at 100%. So I kind of related it all back to what the job was, and it gave them a little bit about me. It's not so much a first date. Tell me about yourself. I have a brother. He lives in Pennsylvania. My hobbies include tennis. You can kind of pepper that. You can fill the room, and once you get through this initial stuff, you know whoever you're interviewing, it might get down to what are you interested in, and you know it could, but you got to at the beginning really focus back in on what skills, what um, your education, your accomplishments, your awards. What are those things that are relating back to the job? And then lastly, you want to be thinking about that on that kind of curveball question that you get. That what are your strengths? You know, I'm really good at communication. I feel like that really helps me work well in a team. And I know in a job like this, I will have coworkers that I'm going to be working in close proximity to with on projects. So I do really well in a group. Now, for your weakness, I heard some pretty interesting ones. Now, you don't want to get too personal on this. You know, if they ask you what is your biggest weakness, you don't want to say, "Well, I'm addicted to gambling and I probably shouldn't be near petty cash." Okay, no, you're not talking about your deepest, darkest, what's wrong with you at all. In fact, if you got any of those, go get those dealt with before you go into the workforce. But these are things pertaining to more of a job. What are areas that you need improvement on? And you can, you need to take time and think about this before you go in. That's why we keep honing in on preparation, preparation, preparation. Be thinking about these questions that are going to be coming ahead of time, and you can look at that list again that I sent you. So when it says what are some of your weaknesses, kind of a harsh term for what are things that you struggle with, but that you're trying to get better at. So that's a way you can think of it, so you can spin it. So I would say something like, if it were me at the time, potentially, well, I'm used to working independently. I kind of take complete ownership of a project. So I'm learning to work more collaboratively with others and working in a group as opposed to my experience being a producer, a videographer, and an editor, doing it all myself. I'm really focusing my skills in collaborating with others artistically. There you go. Okay, so it kind of showed a strength that I work well on projects and I get stuff done, but that I'm also working on being a team player with others. So you can be honest, um, and it be part of your strength. You could, even like, well, I haven't gotten much chance to work in a team. I'm used to working individually, and I know in this I'll be working in a team. So I'm working on being more collaborative with others. Is a good way of putting it. So really think about each of these words. Always draw it back to the position that you're trying to get. Always, always, always. It's not a first date interview. It is a job interview. Always have it reflect back to the job. All right, those are my two tips. I hope you have a great weekend, and we will see you at your job interview.